It's the Orioles on Masson, and the important homestand continues with Game 2 against the Angels. The Orioles coming away with that victory last night, a one-run win, where the rain delay took almost as long as the game did. But it was worth the wait. Hi, everybody. I'm Gary Thorne. Welcome back to Camden Yards. The Orioles getting the victory last night. Lots of positives in the ball game. Number one, it was a one-run win. The Orioles now 9-8 in that department on the year. And defensively, they continue to be the number one team in the league. The plays they made last night showed why their defense continues to sparkle. It was in big situations that it happened. Nick MARKAKIS on Ibar. That would have been a leadoff double. Instead, it was an out. Manny Machado, 6th inning, with a runner on, records the out. And then in the 7th inning, that would end the inning with the bases loaded. Ryan Flaherty, but Showalter said, you know, that was a heck of a play, and it was. The Orioles have the best fielding percentage in the majors. They're 20 errors, the fewest in the majors, and 15 unearned runs allowed. That is 4th fewest in the American League. Last season, they were 10th. You got to catch the baseball, Jim Palmer, to win games, and the Orioles are doing it.
Well, you really are, and last night it really showed it. In the press conference, he said, why is Ryan Flaherty? I mean, he said a little over 100 with runners in scoring position for exactly the reason we saw him last night. So, you know, this is a team that doesn't beat themselves. That's part of getting to where they want to get, which is the postseason. And, you know, the guy that makes it a little bit easier, Freddie Garcia, did throw the 2 solo home runs. Good guy to play behind because he does throw a lot of strikes.
Orioles will try and guarantee themselves another series win. When we come back to Camden Yards, we'll take a look at the lineups for Game 2 of this 3-game set. Find our fares online only at southwest.com and by Ocean City, Maryland. Book your Ocean City, Maryland vacation at ococean.com. As the song says, down in Washington, what a difference a day makes. Last night, thunderstorms, some tornadoes touching down, winds, rain. Tonight, it is gorgeous. 83 degrees, mostly clear skies. Our train game time temperature. Train celebrating its 100th anniversary by offering irresistible financing. It's hard to stop a train. Really hard. Great view of the warehouse. And for the Angels tonight, it'll be Trout, Hamilton, and Pujols, Trumbo, Kendrick, Ibar. Harris gets a start. IANNETTA and BOURJOS last night. Another home run at Camden Yards for Josh Hamilton.
Take a look at our low scouting report. Never stop improving. Not a bad idea, especially if you're starting a game. We'll get it right All 8 home runs that Miguel Gonzalez has thrown this year. Right-handers, the big points. The one number that's a little bit higher than last year when he won 9 games. Runners in scoring position. They're hitting .326, and then it is a rematch. Vargas, his first win of the year was against the Orioles. It was a shutout. Miguel Gonzalez gave up a couple of home runs, pitched well, but got shut out in Anaheim.
And the leadoff batter is Mike Trout, who stands in for the Angels, and we are underway as he goes hacking away and fouls it back. There are the numbers with the 10 starts, record of 3-2. The ball club with those starts is 7-3. The club has won 7 of the 10 starts, even though he has won only 3 of them. Mike Trout, .304 average, picking up a home run in the ball game last night. He brings a 4-game hit streak to this game, and Gonzalez will miss down low with it, and it's 1-1. Trout in that leadoff spot, putting up the big numbers for year number 2 in this young man's career.
Yeah, monster numbers last year with 30 home runs and 89 RBIs, 129 runs scored.
That'll go to the hole, cut off. Manny Machado's up. Oh, my. Yeah. Right where they left off in the game last night.
Well, you got a shortstop playing third base, so tremendous range, tremendous balance, tremendous arm. I could throw out a lot of tremendous. I mean, this is a base hit, and when you get the ball by your third baseman and Trout's the guy, all of a sudden, as you look at the defense, Pierce, Jones, Markakis, Machado, Hardy, Flaherty, and Davis, Matt Wieters back behind the plate tonight. So a bunch of Gold Glovers out there, 4 of them.
Great defensive play to start it. Manny Machado continuing to impress just day in, day out. A very steady ball player. Here is Josh Hamilton, moved into the number 2 spot. Had a 2 for 5 in the ball game last night with a home run and picking up a couple of RBIs. He is 1 for 6 against Gonzalez career wise, with Gonzalez having the 1-1 mark against the Angels. As Jim said, 0-1 this year, getting the victory in his first major league start, beating C.J. Wilson in Anaheim last July for the Orioles win. 0-2 count on Hamilton. Hamilton to be followed by Pujols. Struggles continue with that .216 average for Hamilton. And the 0-2 delivery will be taken inside 1-2. For the Orioles starter, 25 starts as an Oriole. He's gone 12-6 with a 3.63 ERA. Here at Oriole Park this season, he is 1-0. That ball will be drilled in the air to center. Jones going back. Does he have room? Yes.
Well, that he does. Ball hit very hard. Well, last night the ball seemed like it, with all the storms coming through and the rain, even though a lot of humidity, obviously, when it's raining, but ball just jetted out to right field. And that ball looked like it was actually hit better than some of the balls last night, and the wind almost looked like it knocked it down. Doesn't happen that often, even though the flags appear to be blowing out to left center field here.
That'll bring up Albert Pujols with 2 down. Trying for the clean first inning. Gonzalez. Last night for the Angels, they ended up going 0 for 6 with runners in scoring position. They left 8 on base. And Pujols had one of the biggest at-bats of the ball game, leaving the bases loaded 7th inning with only 1 away when he came up. That ball is put up in the air. Wieters will come back and take a look, but it will be out of play. It has been a problem for the Angels of late, in particular, trying to find those big hits. And with Pujols and Hamilton both struggling in the middle of the lineup, those are the guys who are going to get the most chances with runners in scoring position. But Hamilton's not hitting. Home run here and there. And Pujols, .241 with the 10 home runs and 37 RBIs. Shift on in the infield against him. It's there for a strike.
Yeah, when they needed the hit last night, unable to get it. Hunter just flat out threw it by him.
Tommy really challenged him.
Well, again, great job of reading the bat. He was late on the first fastball, and he just kept throwing it.
That'll go to Machado. Another tough play, but Pujols can't run. And the out is recorded, so a clean inning. Gonzalez sets him down 1-2-3. With a left-hander on the mound, we'll check that Orioles lineup in a minute. on the season against the Angels coming into this game. And let's take a look at the starting lineup brought to you by Southwest Airlines for the Orioles. MARKAKIS, Machado, and Hardy, Jones, Davis, and Wieters, Valencia, Pierce, and Flaherty. Adam last night, big night, just one hit, but importantly, 3 of the 4 RBIs.
And our low scouting report on Jason Vargas, turned 30 in February. Well, spring fever, 0-3 in April, and then American League Pitcher of the Month in May, 5-0. He loves to pitch at home, whether it was with the Mariners. That's where he was before he was traded down to the Angels. 29-24 at home. ERA of under 3.5 runs a game. ERA of 18-29, but an ERA of over 5-run games. And then good news, bad news. 0-2 against the Orioles. He's never won here, but he's pitched well. See if that changes tonight.
So Vargas, the left-hander, ready to go. And that means Nick Markakis will lead off, as he does against lefties. And he will take it for a strike. Nick, a 1 for 3 in the ball game last night. Batting leadoff, hitting .313 as a leadoff batter this season. He's either there or in the number 3 hole. When he's batting third, he's hitting .282, a little bit less, but more at bats in the third hole than he is at the top. Buck Showalter making that decision early on about putting him there in that leadoff spot. Nick said, I don't care. If it helps the ball club, I do it. And it has worked. Almost caught a piece of the uniform, came inside. 1 ball, 2 strike count. Nick continuing to have his struggles here at the plate in this month of June. Trying to get the bat going. He generally does not go into very extended slumps, hitting only .148 in June, 4 for 27 so far. Count goes to 2-2, a substantial difference from the previous 8 games where he hit .394, had 9 home runs and that big OPS over 1. And the 2-2 delivery of Markakis goes to short, played by Ibar for the out.
Take a look at the defense for the Angels, and it's not, this really hasn't played well. It looked pretty good on paper. Trout, Bourjos, and Trumbo. Bourjos comes back off the DL with the hamstring problems, gets a couple of hits. Harris, Ibar, Kendrick, and Pujols. Last night Albert did the DHing, and then Chris IANNETTA behind the plate, 2nd consecutive game here.
Manny Machado, 1 for 4 in the ball game, a hit streak now at 8 games. His longest hit streak is 11. Picked up April into the 1st of May. He's up to 8 on this one. Does not have a multi-hit game in his last 10. He'd been putting up multi-hit ball games like one after another. But during the 8-game hit streak, the numbers still there. And they've been important because he continues to be one of their leading run scorers. And you saw those last 2 shots going the other way. Like that one. Down the line in right field. Over and no play to be made. Trumbo. He'll hold him to a single, though. Well played in the corner by Trumbo.
Yeah, a couple of factors. The ball slicing away from him. The sun field, and you can see him squinting, doesn't have the glasses on, is there. So makes a nice play. He can play all over. First base last night, right field. We saw him at third base last year. A little left field. Of course, what he really does best is hit home runs, and he can hit them.
So the Orioles, Manny Machado's got a 9-game hit streak. Picking up the single here in the 1st inning. Manny on at first. And here's J.J. Hardy. Hardy with a 3-game hit streak extended last night with the 1 for 3 that he picked up. Against Vargas, he is 4 for 13 lifetime. And he will take the pitch for a strike. Sam Holbrook has the plate tonight. Andy Fletcher at first, Rob Drake at second, and Joe West, the crew chief, down at third.
And all the home runs hit off of Jason Vargas by right-handed hitters, all 8 of them.
And down low, pickoff at first, and Machado gets back in. IANNETTA whipping it down.
That's what they have in common, Miguel Gonzalez and Jason Vargas. All the home runs have been by right-handed batters.
And the steals here also in common. When Vargas is on the mound, base stealers are 8 out of 9. And IANNETTA has thrown out only 10%. Part of that because the staff of the Angels has a tough time holding runners.
Yeah, he doesn't have one of those classic Andy Pettit moves where you just kind of hang that front leg and it doesn't go past the pitching rubber. Great angle right here. If it goes behind it, you have you have to go home.
Hardy will take it in the air to center field. Going back is BOURJOS. Warning track at the wall. BOURJOS. And what a catch! What a catch! BOURJOS just robbed Hardy of a home run. And Manny Machado gets back to first base. That's why BOURJOS is playing center field, and Trout comes over to give him the high five.
Well, that's his best position. Mike Scioscia manages the ball club. He comes back off to DL. He makes everybody better. And he made Vargas better right here. I mean, what a catch. This is a small ballpark. So maybe a step or two deeper, fully stretched out, probably about 2.5 feet over the center field wall. Never took his eyes off the ball, just sprinted to the wall, and great body control not to slam in it. You hit that wall, Gary, you know you're not catching that ball.
Peter BOURJOS, a great play, and Hardy denied a 2 RBI homer. Not only did he get the ball in the glove, but he was able to keep it in the glove and keep the glove on his hand while he's slamming into the wall. I mean, that's as good as it gets. 400 feet away. Amazing. Only one error the last 134 games for BOURJOS, and even more important, he makes plays like that. Here is Adam Jones, another pickoff, and Machado's out. The second attempt by IANNETTA works, and Manny Machado, in a base running mistake on a fine defensive play by IANNETTA, ends the inning. Mass and Orioles before June 16. Submit a video challenging Adam to any competition of your choice. Adam will pick his favorites, and the public will vote to decide who wins. The Adam Jones Fan Challenge is presented by Care First, who encourages each of us to take that first step towards a healthier lifestyle. So Adam left at the plate, standing at the altar as the bride got picked off at first.
Well, that's... Buck Showalter doesn't show a lot of emotion, but you don't like that. But you got to remember he's 20.
Yeah.
I mean, it's hard to do that.
And he knows you can run on Vargas, so he's trying to get a big lead.
Well, but he also knows, because he knows the game, that you don't want to get picked off with Adam Jones at the plate, who, by the way, did hit a 2-run home run last night and does have 13 of them.
So, lesson learned.
Yep.
Here's Mike Trumbo.
Well, that's why you play the game, as you know. And
Trumbo, the 1 for 3 last night. He's 2 for 4 off Gonzalez, and both the hits are home runs. And that pitch is on the strike zone corner, and a 1-ball, 1-strike count. Gonzalez coming at home with a 5.11 ERA in this ballpark, and 6 of the 8 home runs he's given up have been here at Camden Yards this year.
And the other 2 were in Anaheim. One of them by Trumbo.
That'll be outside for a ball, so he's got a victory here. He's 1-0 at home, but the ERA much higher than it is on the road for him this season, where it's 3.31. So a couple of runs higher at home than on the road. 2 ball, 1 strike delivery. And Trumbo eating up on a pitch that came in on him, and the count's 2-2.
Well, that's the equalizer for Miguel Gonzalez. It's not that he doesn't have a good fastball, a little bit over 91 miles per hour, and when he's pitching well, he can locate it. But the splitter, that is a pitch that he can strike people out, and he can get back into the count.
And the right-handers are the ones who've done damage. 297 off him, as Jim said, with all 8 home runs.
Good.
And a great pitch. He went inside, outside, and got it.
Yep. So if you throw a 2-1 splitter that's about 83 miles per hour and you got a good fastball hitter, he's wondering what's going to come now, and it's just a fastball. I mean, this is about as well thrown as you can throw. You live if you're pitching for those low and away fastballs. They're the numbers we told you last year, much more effective. So the deep inside the numbers, 77 points higher, the slugging up, home runs again, all 8 of them.
And a swing and a miss by Howie Kendrick. Kendrick came in as the hottest hitter of the month for the Angels. The Orioles held him down to an 0 for 4 in the ballgame last night, and they've held him to a 200 batting average with only 1 RBI in the games this season. 0-1 delivery to him, and that will be outside. Goes to 1-1.
Well, 18 of their 37 losses are by what, 1 or 2 runs, and last night 0 for 6. You mentioned it, the lack of the big hit. 0 for 6 with runners in scoring position, and a guy that was 12 for 20 just couldn't get the big hit last night, and that was Kendrick.
1-1 delivery to him. He thought about it, stays away. Did he go? And no, says Andy Fletcher.
Now something has to be said to Freddie Garcia, who made some great pitches to Howie. There is Freddie, the master of deception.
Got the victory last night, 3-3 in the year. Came out because of the rain, both he and Weaver, after that 2-hour, 14-minute rain delay. 2-1 delivery on the way to him. That'll be blooped in the air. That's going to be a base hit. Flaherty giving it a whirl, but couldn't get there, so Kendrick is on with a 1-out single here in the 2nd inning. The latest voting numbers announced this past week for the All-Star game. Several O's near the top are at it. Chris Davis, J.J. Hardy, Adam Jones, all in a position to start. Manny Machado, Matt Wieters, Nick Markakis, Nate McLouth, all battling for a spot. Vote now for your favorite O's at Orioles.com/voteorange and to earn ticket discounts and a chance to get that All-Star game jersey autographed by the O's All-Stars. Just go to Orioles.com/voteorange today. Here is Eric Ibar. Ibar 1 for 4 last night. Great speed. Machado in at third base. Ripped it. There's 1. There's 2. That's the inning. No runs, 1 hit, no errors, nobody left on base as the Orioles defense really helping Gonzalez out. A shot to Davis. Nowhere for Kendrick to go. Double play. From Bowie. Arthur's already won 500 for being selected. You get 100 more for every Orioles hit during the game and 500 for any Orioles home run in the 5th inning. For your chance to be the Maryland Lottery Hit It Big contestant of the game, play 5-card cash. Go to mdlottery.com/Orioles to enter. There is Chris Davis, whose defensive play has been unquestioned this season at first base.
Of course, he didn't have much of a choice there. That was to defend yourself.
Catch it or be severely injured.
That ball was smoked.
Here's Adam Jones back at the plate. And Vargas delivers to him inside for a ball. Adam with a 5 for 24 lifetime against the left-hander Vargas. The Orioles are 9-8 against left-handed starters. In the American League, they have the 6th best win percentage against lefties at a game over 500. They hit .262 overall against left-handers and .277 against righties. But Showalter's ball club over the past couple of years has been stymied a bit by the left-handers. 1-1 delivery on the way, and that will be in there for a strike. And Adam falls behind 1-2.
Yeah, Chris Tillman won that first game in Anaheim over Joe Blanton. And then Vargas came in, and remember Jim Presley, after Joe Saunders had pitched a complete game, another lefty.
Shattered bat, the barrel goes further than the ball. Barehanded, Harris, and got him. Nice play at both ends. Harris a little off the mark, and Pujols, who struggles moving over there, somehow able to keep a foot on the bag for the out.
Now, it is really hard to get out of the box when you get jammed. I mean, look how slowly. Now he's going to run hard. So there's your snap throw, and he just kind of comes off with it. Here's Brendan Harris, who he can play all over second, shortstop, third. Kai Aspo, who's been struggling defensively, gets the night off, also struggling with a bat.
This game apparently was meant to be a highlight reel.
Yeah, well,
boy, the defensive plays we've seen in the ball game were only in the second inning.
So the team tied with Houston for the most errors in the American League. The Angels are playing like Gold Glovers.
Here is Chris Davis. He's got the infield shift on against him. Chris trying to get out of an 0 for 16 he is in right now. Davis playing in career game number 500 for Chris Davis, his 500th major league game. 2-0 delivery to him, and that one's going to be knocked down by Pujols. Can he get there? And no, it's an infield hit. And that will break the 0 for 16 scheme, and a little argument from Vargas.
Yeah, I think he thought he beat him, but it looked to me that it was a tie. Tie's supposed to go to the runner, especially when you're as big and fast as Chris Davis. When you're 0 for 16, you are flying down that line. So here's a play, really nice play by Albert Pujols, who's a plus defender. So
he was out.
Yeah, he was. He got the side of the bag.
Chris Davis and the Orioles get a break. Not him by a good
quarter of a step.
Coming down.
Well, Chris now is 1 for 1 after that 0 for 16.
So he'll take it.
He hadn't lost his sense of humor when he hit that ball right before they called the game or delayed the game because the field was unplayable. He said, I forgot what it was like to be on base.
That'll go down the line. This could fall in. And another great play. Trumbo hauls it in. Mark Trumbo in foul territory. Had a long way to go. He was playing over in the gap in right center, and somebody has juiced the gloves for this one.
Well, look how far he has to come. Is it going to be fair? It was going to be foul, but never took his eye off it. He's a big guy. Not a bad first baseman. Never really worked out at third. But he's played all over the last couple of years. He just won his bat in the lineup.
Amazing. 2 down. Davis remains at first base. Wieters retired. Here's Valencia, the designated hitter for the Orioles. He brings a 4-game hit streak in with him. Gets the start against the left-hander. Valencia's gone 6 for 18 against lefties, 3 for 18 against righties. But all 3 of his hits against righties have been home runs.
Yeah, very timely.
2 down. Runner on the first base as our defensive game of the day continues.
Well, Dan Duquette, who runs this organization from the baseball side of it, he knew the numbers that Danny Valencia had against left-handed pitching. I'm not sure he knew he was only going to get 3 hits and they'd all be home runs against the righties. And he's not only doing that, I mean, he'll get some soft hits and then he'll hit some doubles and some home runs. Strong kid.
Fouls that one back off Vargas, and a 1-ball, 2-strike count. Well-pitched ball game last night. Weaver and Garcia, the two starters. And with the help of their D, you get the pitchers getting the job done. There's Weaver, who took the loss in the ball game last night. They go 1-2 on the season. 1 ball, 2 strike count, 2 down. And that will be a stop by IANNETTA on a bouncer. And it goes to 2-2. Angels have struggled both at home and on the road. They are 12-19 on the road. They go to the Yankees after tomorrow's game. Mike Scioscia's ball club now 27-37, 10 below 500. They are 11.5 games off the pace. 2 ball, 2 strike delivery, and that ball down the line in right field. Will it stay fair? It is curving, and it is fouled.
Well, we talked a little bit earlier about Jim Presley after come leaving Seattle, where they lost 2 out of 3, talking about the Orioles' West Coast trip. And Saunders, who pitched for the Orioles at the end of last year, he did pitch a complete game. He said, against Vargas, we're going to try to go to right field. And it didn't work out. He pitched a 4-0 shutout. So I said today, our same approach. He said, well, you got to do that because he's got the changeup. 41% of his strikeouts come with that changeup. Well, what he did so well, and what he must have done all May when he went 5-0, is in and out, take a little bit, add a little bit, has a curveball, but his changeup is his best pitch. But the fastball sets it up.
Vargas here at Camden Yards has an 0-2 record, but an ERA of 2.38, as Jim mentioned. The record's not good. The ERA is spectacular. Yeah. 2 ball, 2 strike count with 2 down. Off first base, Davis. Valencia waiting on the off-speed pitch to short. Ibar to Kendrick, 4-7. No runs, 1 hit, no errors, and 1 left on base. After 2, it's been all about the leather. No score. PNC Bank for the Achiever and you, and by Chapin Davis Investments, Baltimore's oldest and largest full-service investment company. Call 1-800-222-3246 or visit chapindavis.com. Great way to take a look at the Inner Harbor from another angle. Take the water taxi. And you can just get on it and just cruise around a little bit, come right back into the harbor area. Good crowd on hand for this one. Big series coming up, of course, in the division with the Red Sox coming to town for 4 games. The Orioles have lined up Kevin Gausman to start the series, then Chris Tillman, Freddie Garcia, and Miguel Gonzalez is working tonight. The Red Sox rotation is not set, as there'll be 2-day games, 2-night games, 7:05 to start at Thursday, Friday. The Saturday game is a 4 o'clock game, and then Sunday at 1:30. Here's Brendan Harris getting the start at third base. He did not play in the ball game last night. 224, 3 homers, and 6 RBIs for Harris.
Yeah, he's working on an 0 for 19, but his gloves already made a difference.
Gonzalez delivers, and that will be a strike on the outside corner.
Yeah, Miguel really kind of turned it around on that road trip after Freddie Garcia pitched that game in Houston where 4 home runs off him, 6 on the night. Boy, he came back and really pitched well. Chris Dickerson, great play in the first inning to only keep it at 1 run and then pitched so well the rest of the ball game.
Got him looking. Gonzalez gets his second strikeout as Harris is retired.
Take a look at our Nissan pitch track. So we've seen a couple of fastballs right on the outside portion of the plate. Look how nicely Matt Wieters just presents it for Sam Holbrook. Kind of holds it there. I don't think he needed much help there. That was a terrific pitch.
Here is IANNETTA. Chris IANNETTA. He too struggling at the plate with that .207 batting average. He had a 0 for 2 in the ballgame and was pinch hit for last night. And IANNETTA will take it outside. For Gonzalez, he's had a win, a loss, and 3 no decisions in his last 5 starts. The win against Houston in that last start, a run on 5 hits over 6. He's pitching on average 6 innings a start. He's kept the hits below innings pitched, 57 hits in 60 innings coming in, and strikeout to walk ratio better than 2-1. 2-0 delivery on the way to IANNETTA. That's going to go to center. Jones is over, fell, base hit. He just slipped, had a shot at catching it, but his feet came out from under him.
Well, welcome to last night. I'm not sure he's going to catch it. Anyway, he got a great jump on it, though. It certainly put himself in a position, but the ball looks like it sinks. So here's maybe a step, and the minute he tries to come in, took 1 lateral step, and down he goes. Again, if you were watching any of the game last night, there what do we say? It drained 75,000 gallons of water in a half an hour. Well, it must have been more.
80,000 last night
at least
in an hour. So it'll be a base hit. Here's Peter Bourjos with 1 down. Bourjos coming off the DL and coming away with a 2 for 4 in the ball game last night after missing 38 games with that hamstring problem. And with those numbers, Angels are very happy to have him back in the lineup, batting 9th, playing in center field, and made the great catch, robbing Hardy of the 2-run homer in the first inning. Runner at first, 0-1 the count, 1 down. Not a big lead for IANNETTA. That ball punched to first and foul off the tarp, and a 2-strike count on Bourjos.
Yeah, one of the things that Miguel Gonzalez could do so well, both righties and lefties last year, he had 4 pitches, but pitch inside. Not a lot of guys, especially coming to the big leagues for the first time, are comfortable pitching to both sides of the plate. They talk about it, but it's hard to do. You can see before that hamstring was red hot. Really good high ball hitter.
And Bourjos does not go after that one. And the count goes to a ball and 2 strikes, looking at that heater that was up high from Miguel Gonzalez. Gonzalez gets 73% of leadoff batters out. He's retired all 3 so far in this game. That can really help the cause for any pitcher. Both of these pitchers, Vargas and Gonzalez, are fly ball pitchers. 1-2 delivery down low. Wieters with a nice stop. Gonzalez gets his outs 55% on fly balls, while Vargas is even a little higher at 58%. So in this yard, fly ball pitchers have got to stay in the alleys and into center. Anything pulled right or left is going to be a problem. 2 ball, 2-strike count. Bourjos with Trout on deck, 1 away. IANNETTA the lead at first, and another one sliced foul. Orioles tonight, if they can pick up a win, they'd have a season high 9 games over 500. It would also guarantee them a win in the series, which would be their 14th, and would lead the American League in series wins. Unless Boston also gets a win tonight against Tampa Bay, then the 2 teams would be tied in series wins. 2 ball, 2-strike count on Bourjos, and he had a wait on it down to third. Machado short, hop 1. Relay! Oh, mercy. There's no end to the defense in this ball game, and we're not even close to the middle of the game. A real fine double play. No runs, 1 hit, no errors, nobody left on base. It remains scoreless. .41. Not a lot of offense, which is pretty amazing for two high-powered offenses, but look at the averages. The runs means those hits have been very productive. 22-16, the Orioles' advantage. Home runs are even at 7. The ERA, a run better for the Orioles so far this year.
Yeah, you go back and look at it. It all started with Tillman. Chris has pitched very well, but his best start was out in Anaheim, and then Vargas pitched a shutout. And then Freddie Garcia on that Saturday afternoon had the no-hitter going into the 7th. He would get a no decision. The Orioles would win by 1, and then Jason Hamill struggled but got 8 runs and won 8-4. So a lot better than what they did last year, where they didn't win any of the series.
The Orioles last year went 2-7 against the Angels. The pitch is outside as Pierce will lead it off. Steve Pierce getting the start in left field. He's faced Vargas a couple of times and gone 0 for 2. Pierce 262 off the lefties with a couple of home runs, 226 off righties. So a lineup shaped in large part for Buck Showalter by who's done what against left-handers.
Well, the last lefty the Orioles faced was Matt Moore, and they had 8 extra base hits on Sunday.
2-0 delivery, and he'll get the high strike call.
And that's where he threw a lot of pitches. 7 doubles and a home run. And Pierce was part of that party. Yeah, the one thing that I didn't realize, he has got better speed. Everybody knows he can hit the long ball.
Down to third base, handled by Harris. He waits for Pujols to get over there and gets the out. Pierce retired. Take a look at the numbers against the left-handers for the Orioles. That average 6th in the American League, 22 home runs, 4th. Slugging percentage is the highest in the American League against left-handers, led by Chris Davis, Matt Wieters with a .288 average, and Hardy with a .281 and 4 home runs off lefties. So Davis, Wieters, and Hardy have had the most success against the left-handers this season. Here's Ryan Flaherty. Flaherty will take the pitch inside. Flaherty gets to look at the left-hander. Boy, Ryan, he's only had 3 at-bats against a lefty, 0 for 3 this year. 1-0 delivery to him, and that will be there for a strike from Vargas. Jason Vargas, during that great month that Jim was talking about in May when he was the American League Pitcher of the Month, 5-0, 2.3 ERA, including the 4-0 win over the Orioles. 1-1 delivery. Then had an explosion in the last outing against Chicago, where he gave up a high of 11 hits, 5 runs, 11 hits, and 5 innings in that ball game. He threw only 79 pitches. 2-1 delivery, and he will miss And Flaherty gets ahead on the count, 3-1.
Well, the lefties, as we mentioned, the batting average, at least coming in, was 287 against lefties, but no home runs. Have been 268 with the 8 home runs. So right here, Ryan should get one of those fastballs he loves to hit.
That'll be topped to second base, played by Kendrick.
And he did get it, but just enough movement. Take a look at our Jeep inside the numbers. So there it is, 57% fastballs. You can see the 29%. That's where he gets 41% of his swings and misses. His favorite pitch, occasional curveball, and then the cutter. And the average not very good. But you can see the changeup. And all the other pitches are just pretty much complementary to that pitch. That's the way he gets you out the best.
He's had interesting first pitch numbers. First pitches to batters. The average against him is .419 with 4 home runs off Vargas on first pitches. So far tonight, he's been able to hold that number down, but he likes to throw the first pitch strike, and hitters look for it. MARKAKIS will take the pitch, and it will miss for a ball.
Yeah, I think the league average is, well, what, I think 363 or something. It's a really high number, 0-0, and then it goes down precipitously depending whether you throw strike one or ball one. And
Vargas goes backwards. He's his average when he gets the 0-1 count is 277. The average when he's 1-0, 214.
The changeup. That's what gets him back into counts. There's Socia on the left and Mike Butcher, the pitching coach, on the right. Well, they got him because he's durable. He did win 14 games last year, only lost 11. Pitches somewhere between 190 and 200 innings.
Many thought that was one of the big steals in the offseason. The acquisition that did not get a lot of publicity was the Angels picking up Vargas.
Yeah, it was one of those trades where you would have thought, and he came over from the Mariners, would have been a win-win. They get Kenry Morales. They needed offense. A guy that can DH, play first base.
3-1 delivery, pumped up in the air, and there'll be no play. So MARKAKIS with a full count, 2 down, nobody on. Nick grounded out his first time up. He's 4 for 23 with a home run lifetime off Vargas. Nick's overall average at 289 on the season. He's continued to be right there with that around the 290 to 300 mark. 3-2 delivery on the way, and that is strike 3 called, and MARKAKIS was on his way to first base.
And you never see this.
Nick never argues and has one of the great knowledges of the strike zone, and he was sure that was not a strike. It was, and it's a 1-2-3 inning. On over there, Arizona's Paul Goldschmidt, who is from Wilmington, Delaware, having a breakout season. 59 RBIs, leads the National League. He had 82 all of last year. He's 25 years old, his third year, went to college at Texas State. Atlanta leads the National League at homers with 88, and they are second in ERA with a 3.20. They are very good. Are they as good as the Cardinals? Well, we're going to find out this year. The Cardinals have 41 wins, the most in the majors, and the best ERA in the majors at 3.19, and maybe the best catcher in baseball in a long time in Yadier Molina, who's hitting .354 and leading the National League.
Yeah, they're also the best defensive team over in the National League. They do a lot of things right. Power arms. Adam Wainwright, now 2 years removed from Tommy John surgery, which is something that Miguel Gonzalez had to go through. So, yeah, awfully good ball club.
Real good ball club.
And they're leading the world in runners and scoring position numbers. And then in August, the Orioles will actually venture to see the West Coast trip, San Diego and San Francisco, and then ending up in Arizona.
A very interesting trip. I mean, the Diamondbacks, talking to one of the scouts today, he said, all right, give me the one team that's finally made believers out of us scouts. And I said, I'm not sure. He said, Arizona. That ball is tagged. Mike Trout way back left center field, and goodbye home run off the base of the batter's eye over the 410 mark in center. And Trout has got his second home run in these 2 games. And the Angels are on the board.
71 at bats without a home run till last night. In the notes, he hits them farther than anybody. They averaged .425. I mean, a little splitter. It just stays up enough. I mean, there's the split fingers. It kind of tumbles right to the bat head. Boy, does he stay through the ball.
So there's the homer, and there's the 1-0 lead on the third hit for the Angels in the ball game, and the 21-year-old can get it done. And he's got a 5-game hit streak, and he's becoming one of those who likes to play against the Orioles. He's now has a career 7 home runs against the Orioles, and 3 of them at Camden Yards. Into the shift. Flaherty is there. Hamilton is retired for the first out of the inning. Celebrate summer at Oriole Park by picking up the Birdland Summer 6-pack. You get a ticket to 6 games of your choice, including 2 against either the Yankees or Red Sox, all for one low price. You pay non-prime prices for prime games. Get information at Orioles.com or call 888-848-BIRD. So the Angels using the long ball again, and here at home, that is the 7th home run surrendered by Gonzalez at Camden Yards this year. 7 of the 9 that he has given up. We're in the 4th inning. 1-3-0 for the Angels, 0-2-0 for the Orioles. Been about pitching and Trout's home run. Pujols grounded out his first time up. Orioles shift the infield over against the right-hander. It's been a story of the long ball for the Orioles. 86 home runs, second most in the majors, but they've now given up 91, the most allowed in the majors. There's a pop-up coming back over the screen. Wieters doesn't know where it is. Now he looks and can't find it.
Well, one of those guys, and the high sky. Last night he wouldn't have had a problem if he had to look up into the rain. So you just never ever assume anything. He just doesn't know where it is. He thinks it's way back foul. Gonzalez says he's trying to point, but he doesn't come get it. That's what Pedroia said when he had to make the great play down in Tampa. He said, you know, the pitcher can catch the ball. And this one was right, dropped right at the mound, and he came in and made a sliding catch.
Pujols gets an advantage here. Keeps the at-bat alive. Markakis over in the corner. Oh, what a catch. One of the toughest plays in this ballpark is in that right field corner. Only 318 down the line, and you run into that big entryway door in foul territory down there.
And then last night it was Lake Camden with all the water. That's where they kind of squeegeed it into the ground crew area behind that metal door. And Nick goes out of out of sight, but he did catch it.
2 down. Here's Trumbo, called out on strikes his first time up. And he will take the pitch down low for a ball. For the Angels in the home run department now, they have hit on the season 72 home runs. Compare that to the Orioles 86. They too count on homers. In fact, thought they would have more than that if Hamilton and Pujols were driving the ball, which they have not, at least not at the rate they had hoped for.
Yeah, well, there's no excuse for Josh Hamilton, what he's going through, other than it's baseball. But with Albert with a bad knee and the plantar fasciitis, I mean, he probably.
How long can he stand there?
Yeah, I mean, he talk about the ultimate gamer. I mean, he's playing. Yes, he has a big contract. He's a consummate pro.
Trumbo down to third base. Manny Machado circles, running throw. So that'll retire the side, but Trout delivers his 12th home run to lead off the inning, and the Angels get the lead. Have we seen it in this game against Trout? Very first batter, Manny Machado makes the great play. Hardy, a 2-run homer. Peter Bourjos goes up and robs him. Play, line drive. Step on the bag, double play, Chris Davis. Then the play at third by Harris, robbing Jones into the corner. Trumbo, again, a double play. Machado, great pivot at second, Flaherty, and in the corner, Markakis denying an extra base hit. All of that, and we're only in the bottom of the 4th inning in this game.
Well, you have two pitchers that do throw a lot of strikes, and when you throw a lot of strikes, defenders are ready to do their job, and they've done it tonight.
Vargas will get the pitch on the outside corner for a strike to Manny Machado. Manny a single his first time up, now with a 9-game hit streak. Came in hitting .286 on the season against the Angels with a couple of home runs. Vargas says held opponents to a .217 average in innings 1 through 3, but it balloons to .356 after that. He'll make this play himself and goes to the bag for the unassisted out. You don't see that a whole lot, but he got it done.
Oh, I'm surprised that ball was like a cue shot.
Pretty good glove.
I thought the ball come right back towards us.
You know, when the Orioles win, everyone wins, and all season long, when the Orioles win and score 5 or more runs, you get 50% off regular menu price online orders at papajohns.com by entering promo code Orioles5. Better ingredients, better pizza. Papa John's, valid at participating Baltimore area Papa John's. We always loved Papa John when he sponsored football on ABC. So he'd show up when we did the games in the South and bring in
pizzas,
dozens of pizzas.
Well, the Orioles said they forget the 5 runs. They just won 1 off of Jason Vargas.
And the pitch will miss inside for a ball. Here is Hardy, robbed of a 2-run homer by Bourjos in that first inning. 3-game hit streak for Hardy. There's Bourjos out there in center, straight away. And the pitch taken down low in a 2-0 count.
Yeah, well, there's a tendency, and I think he's a terrific center fielder when we talk about Bourjos and the great play he made, but you play a little deeper here because this park is so small. You can't play shallow and get back to the walls. I mean, just normal balls can be doubles.
Hardy will take it inside.
But I had the opportunity to play with Paul Blair, who won 8 Gold Gloves, and the one thing that Bourjos did that Paul did all the time is that he could get to the wall and go up, not into him. And boy, does that make a difference when you're able to catch a ball and hold on to it.
3-0 delivery on the way in the outside corner. The ideal defensive positioning that Jim's talking about, if you work with kids on that, take them out and just soft toss balls towards the wall and get them used to going back to the wall, finding it, and then making the catch. Not making the catch while you're trying to find the wall. That ball down the left field side, not deep. Trout over, foul territory, and look out. And the fan makes the catch.
Oh, Joe West.
An Angels fan made the catch.
Well, Joe West called him out, and if the ball is to the left of the railing.
Here comes Buck.
Yeah, and he had the best angle, but so did Joe West, who did a nice job last night controlling it. So it's all a matter of whether Joe West thought the ball was out on the field of play, and I'm sure he's going to tell him that because that's the call he made, or did it go in to the stands?
Joe West is right.
Yeah.
That ball was on the outside of that wall.
So right there. Yep. He probably reached about 6-8 inches onto the field of play. So if the umpire assumes that he's going to catch it, and he would have because he got there in plenty of time, came streaking in from left center.
This game is even the gloves in the stands are shining. Buck Showalter went out, and I'm sure just making sure that what Jim was talking about, that he had an understanding. You did rule that ball was going to be on the field, right? And you see him shaking his head there. I suspect John's asking him the same thing.
Well, every time we go back to Fenway, remember when Ben Affleck actually reached over, not into the field of play, he just reached up, and I'm not sure who was playing first base, but he went to catch it, and they booed one of the great actors from Boston. Yeah, exactly. Get out of the way, let him catch it.
And that ball put up in the air to right field. That's hit deep. Going back, Trumbo. No room at the wall. Yes, and he's got it. Right in the corner by the scoreboard and the groundskeeper's door. This ball game's either going to end up 2-1, 1-0, or 12-13. Some of these balls start balling in. Angels lead. Brought to you by Mercedes-Benz, located on the web at mbusa.com, and by 5-Hour Energy Shots. What a beautiful evening here in Baltimore. 83 degrees when we started, clear skies, just a very gentle breeze blowing a bit out to center, and what a night. The baseball matching Mother Nature's grandeur here tonight, with the defense being played and these two pitchers with all the help holding these high-powered hitters down so far as we go to the 5th inning. 1-0 lead. There are the numbers for the Orioles starter, and here's Howie Kendrick.
Kendrick with that single hit a nice little slider, hit it right over Ryan Flaherty's head into right field.
He will foul that one away. Kendrick now 2 for 7. Lifetime off Gonzalez.
Well, can you imagine if you were the minor league coordinator when Howie Kendrick came up, and his first year he hit 368, and then he slumped to 367, then he went to 384. 360 batting average in about 6 years, and there's another one.
Another punch shot into right field for a base hit. Just flared that one.
Well, I think that's my point. He could do that in the minors with the best of them.
Leadoff single. On Friday, the Orioles celebrate Flag Day and the Army's birthday with a patriotic-themed fireworks show after the Red Sox game at 7:05. The first 10,000 fans, 15 and over, get the O's Military Appreciation T-shirt presented by Geico. Good seats still remain, won't last. 888-848-BIRD, Orioles.com. That's for Friday. 4-game set Thursday, Friday night, Saturday 4, Sunday 1:30 against the Red Sox, who have not announced their rotation yet.
A big article today about Clay Buchholz, apparently some 9-0 with some neck problems. So he said he hopes to be able to pitch over the weekend. Lackey pitched last night, so I guess we'll probably see him. Not well. They gave him, gave him a 6-0 lead in the first.
Runner at first base, Manny Machado way in against Ibar at third base. Ibar will take the pitch for a strike. Ibar lined into a double play. Similar situation. In the second inning, Kendrick had delivered a single. Ibar came up and hit a shot right at Davis, who was in the right place because Chris was holding the bag. Identical situation now here in the 5th inning. 0-1 count.
Yeah, but he'd love him to move him on. And 37 infield hits last year, 16 bunts.
He hits that one in the air to right center field. Jones. He's got it. One away. Well, open our Major League book to the East Winds page. What Jim was talking about. Clay Buchholz, stiffness in the neck. He could miss the start on Friday against the Orioles. He's 9-0. They do not obviously want to bring him back if there's any problem. The Yankees, Cano is cold, so Brett Gardner gets hot. 365. 63 at bats for Gardner. For Brandon Morrow, Toronto, more bad news. He's been out, and now they're saying it may be another 2 or 3 weeks. That forearm tightness is not going away. The Toronto starting pitcher out probably for 2 or 3 more starts.
And then it takes a while to get yourself back. Threw the ball very well when the Orioles were last up in Toronto, but it seems like it's always a bleak last year. All kinds of health problems.
Runner was going that time. Play is going to be at first. Hardy will get it over there for the out. Kendrick will go to second base. Let's take a look at our PNC Minor League report brought to you by PNC Bank for the Achiever in you. These are the minor league players for the Orioles who lead in slugging this season.
Yep, well, Buck Showalter, Orioles skipper, was talking about Nick Delmonico. They love his bat. They're trying to figure out where his best position would be. And then Ishikawa, again, a former major league player, really is a terrific defensive first baseman. We saw him when the Orioles a couple of years ago went out to play the Giants. So again, you have some protection down there. Ooh.
IANNETTA up. Yeah. So glad to see Caleb Joseph, the catcher, on that list. And Caleb, I'm sorry, but the Bruins are going to win the cup. And an 0-1 count with the Angels leading here by a score of 1-0, 2 down, 5th inning. Kendrick now on at second base. 0 for 6 last night with runners in scoring position for the Angels. This is their first chance in this situation in this ball game tonight.
And that's the big difference. We talked to one of our Lowe's keys to the game was the big points. What do you do when runners in scoring position? Freddie Garcia throws home runs, but 133 coming into last night's game. Miguel a couple hundred points higher at 326, higher than last year.
So the RBI chance with 2 down, and Gonzalez trying to get the out against IANNETTA, who picked up that base hit in his lone at bat so far in this ball game. 1-1 delivery on the way, and that'll be there for a strike.
Yeah, perfect pitch, low and away. And I think one of the most important things, and I think you really have to focus, it is very easy sometimes when you deliver the ball to forget you're a defender. So with any time with runners in scoring position, you really have to be able to not catch balls, knock them down. You have to really focus on your follow through and be ready to be a defender. And if not, those routine ground balls get into the outfield and they drive you crazy.
Kendrick with a very big lead. The Orioles are not holding him close at second base. They do not want to give room at either second or short for IANNETTA to put one through. So they're letting Kendrick wander off, and Gonzalez turned around and saw that and stepped off, and then Wieters comes out to have a word with him. For IANNETTA, he's only 2 for 21 with runners in scoring position, an 0.95 batting average in these situations. 1 ball, 2 strikeout. IANNETTA will take it outside, trying to get him to chase again. 2-2.
Not a particularly good slider. Sometimes Jason Hamill was talking about, he said, he described it, I get lazy on my slider. You don't stay behind it, and it breaks a lot bigger, and those are the ones the hitters see. Luckily, that was off the plate for a ball.
IANNETTA goes after that one. He got him. Gonzalez gets his 3rd strikeout. No runs, 1 hit, no errors, 1 left on base. The Trout homer, the only run on the board. Inning home run bonus, and for this inning only tonight, Maryland Lottery hit a big contestant of the game is going to get $500 for any Orioles home run. Arthur Childs has already won $700 tonight. For your chance to be the Maryland Lottery hit a big contestant of the game, play 5-card cash and go to mdlottery.com/Orioles to enter. Gary Thorne, Jim Palmer at the ballpark. Oriole Park at Camden Yards, strategically located close enough to the harbor for a nice walk.
It really is, and because you have major highways, it's easy to get in and to get out. It really is. Everybody said nobody will ever go back downtown. I remember when I first got here, and the old ballpark up on 33rd Street, Memorial Stadium, so it was in a neighborhood. And talk about hard to park and hard to get out of a place, but that's where the Colts played,
and don't get out of the car.
Yeah. Well,
and the pitches take it inside for a ball. Chris Davis, a lot of great numbers. Largest single increase in OPS since the Orioles came to town. John Lowenstein had it in 81 to 82. Chris Davis, second greatest increase in OPS.
Well, they got the leg base hit, even though it looked like Vargas may have beaten him, but he did work. Boy, he was out here for about a half an hour. Jim Presley, Oriole hitting instructor, he was doing the tosses from down the third baseline, keep that front shoulder closed. And I just think, and we were talking because he was hitting with Taylor Teagarden and Ryan Flaherty. They were taking turns, and Danny Valencia was also hitting. He said, I'm just missing my pitches, and then they make good pitches. He said that's kind of what happens in baseball.
3-0 delivery to him, and he walked on 4 straight. So Vargas, first walk of the ball game, and it is a leadoff walk here in the 5th inning. After the Orioles wrap up their 3-game series against the Angels, stay tuned to Masson for the Mid-Atlantic Sports Report 5 to 7 tomorrow. Rob Long, Dave Johnson, Mel Anton, and Phil Wood, they'll have the Oriole news and notes. Guys will break down the Orioles-Angels series. Take a look ahead at that big 4-game series against Boston. That's the Mid-Atlantic Sports Report tomorrow 5 to 7 right here on Masson. Remember, it's a day game tomorrow, 12:30, early start. Strike taken by Wieters. Wieters robbed by Trumbo on a fine catch in right field, robbed of an at-bat. The ball was in foul territory, but Trumbo went over and caught it. So Wieters saw only one pitch in the first at-bat. Matt had a 2 for 3 in the ball game last night. Launches that one in the air to center. BOURJOS over. Davis will tag but stay as the throw comes into the cutoff man, and Wieters is retired. One down.
Yeah, just able to get that fastball just in enough. 87 average fastball. That's the number, I guess. 88, I guess, is the average fastball for Jason.
Vargas now with one down will work against Valencia. Valencia hit into a fielder's choice his first time up. Vargas gets tougher when he works out of the stretch. If there's nobody on, opponents hit .324 against him. When somebody's on base, they hit .208.
That's a major drop.
Big drop.
Well, I think one of the things you have to do, I always assume that people were going to get on, and so you would do a lot of your side session. Even when you throw batting practice in spring training to Mike Butcher's looking on as pitching coach, when you throw just for your conditioning, you throw out of the stretch. You want to make it feel as comfortable as if you're into your windup.
1-0 delivery, and that will be taken away.
And the one thing when I coached Little League down in Palm Beach Gardens, I would teach all the youngsters to throw from the stretch first because it gives you balance. It's easier windup to be able to repeat. And then they kind of learn the basic precepts of pitching. It's hard to get some major league players to be able to do the big full windup.
And he shows him the off-speed delivery right there at 78 miles an hour for a strike. 2-1 on Valencia. 2-1, 1 down.
Take a look. There is your Nissan pitch track. Does it get the corner? Only Sam Holbrook thought so.
And he's the only one who matters.
Yeah, exactly.
2 ball, 1 strike count, and Valencia will pop that one up to short. High bar.
Well, there's another changeup. Back-to-back changeups.
2 down.
That's a good one. Even better.
Changeup clearly making a comeback among major league pitchers. It had kind of disappeared for a while with the slider being so popular, the cutter being even more popular.
Split finger fastball.
Yep.
But all you got to do is look around and you see guys. I remember when Bruce Bano was here and then he went over to the Cardinals. He asked me to come to talk to their pitchers, and I just said to all the young guys for the Cardinals, I said, who are the best righty and lefties in the National League over the last 15 years? They said Glavine and Maddox. I said, what can they do? And somebody said, yeah, they can throw changeups and they can throw the ball at the knees on the outside corner. And if you can do that, if you watch baseball now and you watch the guys that have success, whether it's CC Sabathia or whether it's Buchholz, who's 9-0, they all have changeups. You have to be crazy if you're a young pitcher and you don't incorporate it. That's why when I saw Jake Arrieta, who just got pulverized in his last 2 starts, not throw changeups in 3 straight games up here in the big leagues, I'm going, isn't he watching? I mean, that's part of the game. It's not just when you pitch.
1-1 delivery is outside. As you know, Jim, there has to be a certain confidence gained, I think, more with a changeup than a fastball, because good pitchers who've been good for so long, they've relied on the fastball. It's always been good enough to get people out. And then suddenly it isn't. And then are you confident enough to throw the changeup?
Well, it's such an easier, of all the secondary pitches, fastball would be number 1.
Yeah.
I learned that from Robin Roberts when I was 19. It's the easiest pitch to throw over.
That one Pujols will give chase on, and to no avail.
But is there anything in life that just you snap your fingers and it's happened? It has other than maybe meeting your wife or something like that when you're really fortunate. But
I'm waiting for the answer.
Well, I'm looking. Well, you met Alex, and some of us get lucky. So anyway, the bottom line is, what I'm trying to say is, you really have to work at it, and it's a pitch. If you asked Jason Vargas, what's your best pitch, he'd say he'd probably vacillate my fastball and my changeup, because they go hand in hand. And that's what he's showing us tonight.
2-2 throw over. Yeah. Vacillate and snap your fingers, all in the same sentence. That included a semicolon.
Well, I didn't throw any confluences.
You did not. No confluences there. We're not in Pittsburgh.
No.
Joe Henderson, though, snap your fingers. Proud that you remembered that song. And by our mention, you'll probably get a 5-cent residual. 2 ball, 2 strike count. Runner on at first base. And that one will be fouled. Looked like it caught a little bit of IANNETTA there. Pierce stays alive with a 2-ball, 2-strike count.
Yeah, he just wants something inside middle, and just don't always get that against Jason Vargas. Off the left instep. That's why he's wearing the protection, and then the ball. That spin gets it foul.
That bat went right underneath his mask. 2-ball, 2-strike count. Davis, the leadoff walk, still over there. There's a silo shot. Pujols coming in as the angle. And the ball. No runs, no hits, no errors, and one left on base. This pitcher's duel with the great defense continues. 1-0 Angels. Games at home. They had an inexplicable run before that of 0 for 7 in ball games played here at Camden Yards.
Inexplicable. I'll vote for the 6.61 ERA during that 0-7 game. That'll kind of get you.
Think that'll do it?
That'll head you in the wrong direction.
So Plex, it was explicable.
Yes, it was. And then now they're 7-1. ERA is under 4 runs a game. Pitching gives you a chance to win.
6th inning, and the Angels.
If you get Mr. Gonzalez some runs, he's
yes.
going, well, Vargas.
Can't win with no runs.
Yeah.
1-4-0 for the Angels. The homer by Trout. The Orioles are 0-2-0. 2 left on by the Orioles, 1 by the Angels. And great defense in the ball game by both teams. Bourjos, a double play ground ball in his only at bat. That's how efficient these pitchers have been. Here we are in the 6th, and the number 9 hitter getting his 2nd at bat in the ball game.
Well, a couple of curveballs by Miguel Gonzalez tonight. He got Trout on a diving play by Machado, and then the double play that Bourjos hit.
Bourjos fouls that one off.
That's one of the things. The curveball, it's a very effective pitch, but normally, at least for myself, I could not probably spot it as well. Fastball you could throw on the outside quarter of the plate, so you have to trust the left side. If you got a right-handed hitter up the left side of your defense, and who better to trust than Machado and Hardy? Hardy with a gold glove and Machado heading in that direction.
1-2 delivery on the way. Waiters snags that one, and a 2-ball, 2-strike count on Bourjos with Trout and then Hamilton due up. Only 59 pitches have been thrown by Gonzalez so far in the ball game. He has got a chance to go deep in this if he continues to get the outs with the defense behind him that he has in the game. That'll be fouled away, and Bourjos has done that about 6 times in his 2 at-bats, fouling him off the right side. Holds the count at 2 balls and 2 strikes.
Yeah, you really don't want to go to 3-2 because he is a speedster. I don't know how the hamstring is as far as stealing bases, so you certainly want to keep him off the bases. And they won't stay down.
2-2 delivery again, and that'll be outside. So a 3-ball, 2-strike count on Peter Bourjos leading it off here. Both teams just trying to get base runners on any way they can. Gonzalez hasn't walked anybody, and Vargas has walked only one, a leadoff walk that he got away with in that last inning. 3-2 delivery and a ground ball that bounces off Gonzalez, and he still makes the play. And now the question, is he all right?
Yeah, well, looks like Richie Bancels, Oriole head trainer. He's poised. There he is. He's ready to come out. Well, we talked about fielding your own position. That ball gets him in the butt. That's one way of doing it. Use your rump. And Bourjos says, I was rumped.
Hit him just below the wallet right there.
Well, just there you go. And now find out where it is. There it is. And he really does make a nice play considering the speed factor.
And a good play by Davis, too. That throw was right into the runner, Bourjos, and he put the glove in and brought it back out with the ball. So a big first out recorded. Here's Trout. Trout delivered the homer, 4th inning, his 12th of the season.
So there we go with Miguel Gonzalez coming into 3-2. When you look at that support, 7 runs of support in 4 starts. That's also when he was going through the blister problems in May.
Trout will take the pitch on the outside corner for a strike. Trout came into the game hitting .300 against the Orioles on the season with the 3 home runs and 6 RBIs. Now he's got 4 home runs and 7 RBIs. 1-1 delivery to him, and that will be taken inside for a ball. Trout's average here at Camden Yards over the last 2 seasons, .333, and 2 home runs coming in and 1 more here tonight. The 2-1 delivery on the way, and Trout will put it up in the air to right field. Nick Markakis, the long run again. Near the stands, and Nick up, and he makes the catch.
Yeah, that wall doesn't give a lot. What a great play. I mean, the ball is high, so you got some time to get there, but you have to go a long way because of Trout's power. You're playing deep, not like you're playing shallow. So you got to catch it. And you got to contend with the wall. Yes, it is padded, but there is cement behind it. And he makes it look like it's routine, which is why the league acknowledged how good a right fielder is and awarded him the Gold Glove.
Amazing. Just an amazing night of defense. So there are 2 down, and here is Hamilton, who is flied out and grounded out. He's the DH tonight and tops that one foul at the plate. Nick Markakis coming up with another fine play. He robbed Pujols in the 4th inning, making an outstanding play in the corner in right field, and there he gets Trout.
And then last night, the diving line drive that Ibar hit that was hooking away from him in a 1-run game.
And a swing and a miss. Hamilton going for another. He's had 7 home runs in his last 5 games here at Camden Yards with that 4-homer ball game last season. Maybe picking things up a bit offensively. The Angels certainly hope so. Here's the 0-2 delivery to him, and he reached and he's gone. Gonzalez gets his 4th strikeout. It's a 1-2-3 inning, and again it's the defense that makes it possible. Nick Markakis against Trout for the 2nd out of a 1-2-3 inning. as Jason Hamill will take the mound against Jerome Williams. Our coverage on MASN HD at noon. O's Extra presented by Geico, followed by our game coverage at 12:30. All the access you need right here on MASN.
Well, there they are, Jerome Williams. Boy, they said he's a godsend with some of the injuries they had to their starting staff, and Angels need to get theirs starting staff figured out as Jason Hamill. So one of his best games was his last game. He did get beat on the home run by Jennings to straightaway center field, losing 2-1. So finally feeling well and pitching better, even though he won a lot of games early because of run support.
So the Orioles need a comeback in this one. Only the bottom of the 6th inning in a 1-0 ball game. Flaherty leading it off, grounded out Markakis, and then Manny Machado, and that ball will be fouled away.
Well, the amazing thing, this is only the second at bat, and we're in the 6th. And he got a 3-1 fastball to hit the last time, but not the case now. And
only 69 pitches thrown by Vargas, so both he and Gonzalez have really been effective in being efficient. 0-2 the count on Flaherty, and he'll take that one inside as IANNETTA was moving the other way.
Well, a lot of first pitch strikes, and then something you talk about, something that we always focused on when you pitch, is can you get the first guy of an inning out? And only in the 5th when he walked Chris Davis, they were unable to advance him.
1-2 delivery, and that's better than Vargas's average, which is only 62%. Retiring leadoff batters coming into the ball game. That's low. You don't want to be up there around 70. Gonzalez is at 73. 2-2 delivery by Vargas, and that'll be outside. He's had trouble against Flaherty, the left-hander, in both at bats. As the count goes deep again, trouble in the sense of getting that out without throwing a number of pitches. 3-2. And the delivery, and that'll be lined into left field for a base hit. So Ryan Flaherty gets the single, and the numbers hold true. Batters leading off in the 6th, earning .415 off Vargas. Celebrate Father's Day at Oriole Park as the Birds host the Red Sox for a Sunday afternoon 1:35 game. The first 10,000 men 21 and over will get the Father's Day travel kit. Make some new Birdland memories with the family at Oriole Park. Good seats still remain. They won't last. 888-848-BIRD. Go to Orioles.com. Father's Day is this Sunday?
Yes, it is. I thought it was last Sunday.
I didn't know that.
I mean, I would have known if it had been, but
yes,
I was planning on Father's Day last Sunday.
Waiting for gifts. Where are the gifts?
Yeah.
Nobody cares.
No. All right.
They've forgotten me. So the leadoff man on. The Orioles pick up their 3rd hit of the ball game. Markakis 0 for 2. He's been called out on strikes and grounded out. Nick on the pitch riding in a bit, fouls it back, and the count goes to 0-2 from Vargas. See the Orioles this season in the 1-run ball games. They are 9-8, 15th in the majors. Last year, of course, that amazing 29-9 record, the best in the majors.
And then the Angels are 10-13 in 1-run games. Not where they want to be.
0-2 the count on Markakis. Infield double play depth. Nick on the off-speed pitch is going to get a base hit into the gap. Coming around, Flaherty to third base. It'll be played in. BOURJOS bobbled it. Here's the throw to second, not in time, and they hold the runner at third base. Actually didn't have anybody covering second base.
Yeah, Kendrick didn't go all the way out because he didn't think the ball was going to be bobbled. So he's out on just short of the grass, and Ibar is kind of the cutoff man. If Kendricks doesn't catch the ball, I mean, take a look right here. It's a little curveball. This is what he tried to do to Ryan Flaherty. I mean, look at the way that Nick Markakis is able to track that ball. And this is right here. He just kind of looks up. You know he's going to third base because of the way the ball's hit. Very much like Hamilton did last night in the 6th inning, misplayed a ball out in right field. So the superlative defense all night falters right here. And the Orioles have a chance to tie it or take the lead.
Big chance now for the Orioles. 2 in scoring position, and here is Manny Machado. Nobody out. Orioles now with 4 hits. A 2-base hit credited to Nick Markakis, the double, and Machado goes after the first one and misses. He has singled and grounded out back to the mound.
Take a look at our Jeep inside the numbers again. Hitting .339, so struggling a little bit more, even though he has a gate 8-game hitting streak, you figure, well, maybe he's chasing a little bit, but for a 20-year-old guy, that's not the case. I just think they're pitching him a little differently.
375 with runners in scoring position for Manny Machado. He fouls it off, and Vargas gets ahead of him. 2 strikes. This is the first time in the ball game the Orioles have had an at-bat with a runner in scoring position. They went 2 for 3 in the ball game last night.
So Jason Vargas only the 1 strikeout on a questionable pitch to Nick Markakis, and you know he's hunting strikeout or pop-up, and this is a good count to try to do it.
0-2 delivery, and that's a ground ball. Runner coming home will score. Play made to first. Kendrick, RBI picked up by Machado, and the ball game is tied at 1.
They put it on the board all spring. What's your number getting a runner in from third base with less than 2 outs? If you get runners at second and third, can you hit the ball to the right side? It looked pretty obvious to me. That's what Manny was trying to do.
And they get a runner moved up to third base with only 1 away.
And now they have to bring their, well, they don't have to, but they're going to bring their infield in and make Hardy a better hitter.
34 RBIs for Manny Machado. Ball game tied at 1 down. And Hardy, he's been denied twice in this game by outstanding plays. Hardy, one made by the center fielder Bourjos, took away a 2-run homer. The other made by a fan in the seats in left field for an out on a fly ball, credited put out to Trout. But the fan caught the ball leaning over.
He'd just love to do what he did the first 2 times up.
Fake on the throw to third base.
And that's a hit a fly ball.
So the opportunity for Hardy to give the Orioles the lead. Nick Markakis, who had the double, is now over there at third base. Hardy hitting .270 with runners in scoring position. The infield way in. 1-1 delivery to him. Hardy to short. Runners not coming. Nice play by Ibar, and he'll get the out. So Markakis not going on contact. Will stay at third, and now there are 2 down. And that will bring up Adam Jones. Take a look at our Chevy League leaderboard, brought to you by Chevrolet. Find new roads. The extra base hit leaders, if you go back to 2012 through today, Adam Jones with 106, Miguel Cabrera and Robinson Cano, only ones ahead of him. Then you got Pujols and Trout.
Yeah, Pujols with the 30 home runs and 50 doubles last year, and then Cabrera wins the Triple Crown. Cano hits everybody except lately, where he's slumping a little bit.
Adam is 6 starting the day in extra base hits this year with 32. Chris Davis is the leader in the American League with 40. We got Davis, Trout, Machado, Jones, and Trumbo all in the top 10 in extra base hits playing in this game. So Jones, runner at third, 2 down, and Adam on the big cut. Vargas trying to get out of this inning, giving up only a run after the Orioles got runners at second and third with nobody out. Now Markakis at third with 2 down. Ball game tied 1-1, and each team's got 4 hits. 0-1 delivery. Jones off the inside pitch, fouls it away.
Yeah, high and tight, low and away. First pitch down and away, perfect changeup, and then he just comes right back up right on his fist. And now you're in the hole.
This is where Adam has been at his best. You see the numbers with runners in scoring position. When there are 2 down, he's even better at .303.
What he's able to do is put his Howie Kendrick swing on. Inside out, infield rollers sometimes.
0-2 delivery and chopper. And a foul ball called.
Why?
Home plate umpire.
Yeah, why would that ball be foul?
Holbrook, and that's going to bring, well, only a couple of steps to get the answer that's satisfied.
Yeah, the only way it's foul is if it hit him, and Buck Showalter certainly wants that to be the case. So does this ball hit Adam? It
looked like he may have even hit it twice.
Let's see, a little curve ball. Baltimore chop. Yeah, I think it gets the bat or the back of his hands while he's in the box. Otherwise, he's out.
So Jones gets his at-bat extended. And on the 0-2 count, we'll get another shot at it. Markakis at third, infield, of course, back now with 2 down. Vargas with the 0-2 delivery. And Jones does it again. This one's fair and got him. IANNETTA. Fantastic play by the catcher. And again, Jones is denied a hit on a fine defensive play, this time by the catcher. It's a 1-1 ball game. ANNETTA. Been a long time, Jim, since I can remember a ball game where we've seen so many outstanding defensive plays in a game.
Well, you have two teams. You look at it's like you're fighting a heavyweight when you're looking at the Angels. They've only scored, 4.4 runs a game. The Orioles at 4.9. We know the Orioles are the heavyweights,
yes,
but you're just wondering. So he gives you an idea. Vargas gives up his first run in 15 innings. And Gonzalez is pitching great, as he did down in Houston, as he pretty much did the month of May. So two pitchers are throwing a lot of strikes. They make you, especially the Orioles, we know how good they are defensively, but even the Angels have had a great night, and they're not they have as many errors as anybody in the American League. So
hard to believe you got the best team in defense in the Orioles and the worst in the Angels. You wouldn't know it by watching this game. You'd swear they were 1 and 2 in that department. So we go to the 7th inning of a 1-1 ball game. Each team with 4 hits as well, 3 left by the Orioles. Only 1 base runner left on by the Angels. That was in the 5th inning when they got a runner to second base and could not get that runner moved in. Pujols with the infield shift on against the right-handed hitter, and he'll take it outside for a ball. Pujols denied an at-bat by Markakis, who made an outstanding play against him. His last time up, Pujols is 0 for 2 in the ball game.
But he becomes very dangerous here because he can just sit on your fastball. And he comes in with something else because he knows that. Talking about Miguel Gonzalez. Just missed a home run last night. Hit it off the middle of the wall in left field, and after hitting 2 home runs in his last 5 games. So playing hurt, but certainly a dangerous hitter. May hit 3-0 here.
3-0, and he's on with a walk, a leadoff walk. That is the first walk surrendered by Gonzalez, and it comes with Trumbo and Kendrick due up. On Thursday, don't miss your chance to meet pitcher Chris Tillman at the official Orioles team store in the York Galleria from noon until 1. He'll be signing autographs, meeting fans, answering your questions. Plus, you can see the Vote Orange Street team. They'll be on hand to encourage the All-Star balloting. For details, go to OriolesReach.com. That's Thursday. Runner on. And Trumbo at the plate. Trumbo 0 for 2, grounded out, struck out, and he will take the pitch for a strike. Trumbo with the 2 for 6 now against Gonzalez, 2 home runs. 22,834 the tickets for this one. 22,834, and seeing a tremendous ball game. 0-1 count on Trumbo. Angels trying to get out of a 3-game losing streak that they are in. And the Orioles look to guarantee themselves another series win for Mike Scioscia's team tough sledding, and got the Yankees coming up in New York after this 3-game set. The Buck Showalter's ball club is just trying to get 10 games above 500 and build on 15 as they are 36 and 28.
Well, they won 13 out of the last 20 after that 6-game losing streak. So starting pitching is starting to turn around, get a little bit better.
0-2 delivery on the way, and he chased one upstairs.
Well, 0-2 allows you to do it. Right before that pitch, Matt Wieters kind of demonstrates, as you look at our Nissan pitch track, gives him the high target, and that's exactly where he throws it. So 4 straight balls to Pujols to walk him, and then 3 straight strikes, and they'll right up the ladder to a big, strong home run guy.
So that'll be the first out. Runner still on at first base. Strikeout number 5 in the ball game, as Miguel Gonzalez has been picking up the strikeouts over the last 5 starts. Really, you got 5 against New York, 7 against Toronto, 6 against Detroit, 7 last outing against Houston, and now he's got 5 so far in this game against the Angels. Howie Kendrick 2 singles. A couple of hits, 6 at bats in the 2 games.
2 soft singles to right.
Hitting .323 in the year. Tried to go that way again and fouls it back.
Well, he's got as many home runs, talking about Howie Kendrick, as he had all of last season. So he's a .294 lifetime hitter. Tells me he can hit a little bit.
Pujols, because he can't run, is allowing Chris Davis at first base to play behind him. Chris is not really, he's not holding the bag. Obviously not going to let him just walk away, but they're not really concerned about Pujols taking off. 0-2 delivery on the way, and again foul back, and it stays at 2 strikes. Howie Kendrick this season against the Orioles, despite his big numbers against everybody else, came in with just a .200 batting average in the first 5 games against the O's and only 1 RBI. He has picked up the 2 singles in this one. 0-2 count. 1 down. And way outside. 1-2.
I was asking Rick Adair, the Oriole pitching coach, what happens when Miguel has a tendency to do that. He said he just can't sync up his hands and his front knee, and what happens is the body keeps going left, and you're just not ready to throw a ball. We've probably seen that more this year than in years past.
1-2 delivery on the way and fouled away.
And when he syncs it up. So what Rick was talking about, he said pitchers, either your hands come down or your hands go up. Hands go up. So if you sync it up, hands go up, knee comes up, and you can stay closed. You're in a nice north and south position. If the knee comes up and your hands are not where they're supposed to, you spin out and then the ball goes all over the place. But
1 ball, 2 strike count here. The leadoff walk to Pujols, who's on at first base. Here's the 1-2 delivery, and that's hit twice. Once up front, once in the backswing.
Well, one thing about Howie Kendrick, who talked about the 8 home runs, if you're Matt Wieters and Miguel Gonzalez, it's not that he's late on the fastball. He lets the ball travel. You're going, if I'm going to come in, I want to do it in this count, 1 and 2. I don't want to do it deeper in the count where I can't come in off the plate, because otherwise he may just turn on it and all of a sudden you're talking home runs, extra base hits.
1-2 again, stayed away, and again Kendrick reaching out to foul it back. So pretty good battle joined here with 7 pitches thrown so far in the at bat by Kendrick.
What Freddie Gonzalez or Garcia was able to do last night was the slider, and that has not been as sharp as maybe Miguel would like it tonight. Freddie was able to get that slider out of the zone. Now they're going to come in.
1-2 delivery on the way. Kendrick a comebacker, got a chance for 2. Pujols 1, reload, and got him. Another big double play, and another instance where Gonzalez faces only 3. 7th inning stretch time, ball game tied.
Bourjos just off the DL robs J.J. Hardy of his 14th home run. And Trout, back-to-back nights with home runs. Hits at about 4:30 to give the Angels a 1-0 lead. And then, boy, all kinds of defense tonight. MARKAKIS last night, tonight. And then after a couple of singles, the error by Bourjos, Manny Machado drives in for the only run. So Vargas still on the mound, as is Miguel Gonzalez. Both of them really pitching great baseballs tonight. More strikeouts by Gonzalez. Pitch count very, very efficient for Miguel as Vargas pitches here in the 7th.
1-1 ball game as the shift is put on. Davis stands in, a single and a walk in the game, getting out of the 0 for 16 in his first at bat with a base hit. Chris continues on that leaderboard. He and Miguel Cabrera are the 2 and high up in the Triple Crown categories. Chris 3rd in average, 1st in home runs, and 2nd in RBIs. And the breaking ball taken down low. Our Geico game highlights were brought to you by Geico, saving people money on more than just car insurance. Davis with the outfield deep, giving him a big gap in right center. Will foul that one off. And the count stays at a ball and 2 strikes.
Yeah, Chris Davis already 5 of his 20 home runs against lefties, and Vargas hasn't thrown one.
Vargas has given up the 8 all to right-handers. Very effective performance for him as well. Only 89 pitches thrown. Davis with a 1-2. Look out.
Or to get the bat.
With the bat. Hit the bat. Foul ball.
We talked about trying to cover that outside corner, something Chris does so well, and this bat just gets, I guess, the bottom of the bat. No, it looked to me it hit his hand.
Certainly lucky it did not do damage. Here's the 1-2 delivery again, and Davis will take it, and they were all ready for a strikeout and didn't get the call. Everybody was leaning to toss it around the infield. Even Chris a little worried on that. So with the crowd over the scoreboard out there, this beautiful night watching from on high. And that one will be grounded second base again. Kendrick. A fine pitch by Vargas to get the first out of the inning. Swing for the fences with the new Home Run Derby mobile game from MLB.com. Play one. The real Home Run Derby participants for the past 3 seasons have in the arcade mode or in the Derby mode that recreates the authentic Home Run Derby tournament experience. Available on iPhone, iPad. Download MLB.com Home Run Derby for free today.
Am I throwing back? Am I the pitcher in that Home Run Derby? There were nights when I felt that.
Yes, we could do that for you.
I did it.
And the pitch a strike on the outside corner to Wieters. Matt is 0 for 2 in the ball game. 2 hits in 5 at bats here in the first 2 games. Matt has done well this season and lifetime against the Angels. He's came in hitting .286 against the Angels this year, and lifetime a .303 career batting average against a team that's had some real quality pitching over Matt's seasons with the Orioles. He has a 5 for 18 lifetime against Vargas. And the pitch is a strike to him.
Yeah, he shows you inside if he gets ahead to get you out, and sometimes just to set up that, and then the change up right off it. So you can see a nice little blend. 66% fastballs tonight.
Here's the 1-2 delivery on the way to him. We told you both of these pitchers are fly ball pitchers coming into the game. They both have defied that a little bit in this game. Vargas has got 10 ground ball outs, and Gonzalez has got 8. So they've kept the ball down enough to get their ground balls other than fly balls. And that one's fouled off by Wieters. 2-2. Scott Downs in the bullpen for the Angels. And there's been a problem for the Angels. They thought they were all set when it came to the bullpen. So far, it hasn't been that way.
Well, Downs was hurt. Actually had some rib problems when we were out there. Didn't go on the DL.
Down to third base, Harris. 2 down. And the ground balls continue. This copyrighted telecast presented by authority of the Orioles may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Orioles.
Yeah, they only have the one lefty. It was supposed to be Sean Burnett, but he had they acquired him last year with the Nationals, and really had a nice year for Davey Johnson in the Nationals, but had the elbow operation. And like Scioscia said, when he's been able to pitch, he's been fine, but he's on the disabled list with elbow problems, so he's only got one lefty out there. And then Jepson was on the DL, who throws about 98. He's back throwing well.
0-1 count of Valencia. Valencia 0 for 2. Vargas, a couple of off-speed pitches to him. Dangerous spot for Vargas here. Valencia will be going for the long ball.
Well, he just really hasn't gotten the ball in the middle of the plate. Danny is big and strong, and Jason's been able to stay out of the happy zone.
1-1 delivery to him, and he turned that one over, down and away. On the season, the high pitch count has been 114. That was 5 starts ago now for Vargas. He threw only 79 in that last outing. 1-2 delivery, hit hard to the middle. Oh, what a stop. Ibai. Oh, it's an infield hit. And Pujols got spiked on the way by as Valencia gets the single.
Yeah, he's trying to stay on the bag. Appears that they're both all right. Great range. I mean, Ibar can go get him. Off balance throw, and I don't know if Albert he's already got enough knee and foot problems. I think another thing there, in a 1-1 ball game, you don't want the ball going off your glove and Valencia getting into scoring position. Even though maybe he is the way Steve Pearce can swing the bat.
Pearce an 0 for 2. He's grounded out and popped out. Orioles get hit number 5 on the infield hit. By the way, there is an error on the board for the Angels. They changed on the Nick Markakis 6th inning hit, a single, not a double. Error charge to Peter Bourjos, allowing the runner to go to second base. So Bourjos got charged with the error. That's the only error in the ball game. He bobbled it on the pickup.
Well, you really get some conventional defense from the Angels in the outfield. They're about as deep as you can go. Very rarely do you see teams play this deep here in this ballpark, but it makes sense.
Pierce will take that for a strike.
And the last thing they want is a ball hit over their heads.
Pierce, 2 of his 3 home runs against left-handers, hitting .262 off the lefties coming into the ball game, and an 0 for 2 tonight. Valencia on at first base. Game tied at 1, bottom of the 7th inning. And that pitch will be outside. Good eye by Pierce, and a 2-ball 1-strike count. So Vargas probably working in his last inning. A very short outing and a bad one against the Cubs has been rectified with his performance so far in this game.
He really pitched well. Bourjos kind of saved him 2 runs back in the first.
And he went around on it.
Well, that's what the good pitchers do. And when you're got a 5-game winning streak, your American League Pitcher of the Month, going 5-0 in May, you don't miss in the middle of the plate to a home run guy or a power hitter like Steve Pearce. You either throw it on the corner or you miss away and then come back with.
He has his best ERA against the Orioles, 1.65 with that 2-2 record. And a little number, that could be a problem. Pierce is going to beat this out. Base hit. So the Orioles get 2 infield hits with 2 down here in the 7th inning. Two bats put into the lineup to deliver some power. Both end up with infield hits.
Yep. Wow, this is a great changeup right off the end of the bat. Very much like the Hamilton hit last night. Chris Davis feels it. They score a run, the 3rd run, and then no place to go.
Now, taking a look at IANNETTA and Mike Scioscia sending the assistant trainer out. Now Butcher's going to come out, pitching coach. So the Orioles here in the 7th inning trying to get the lead run in, 1st and 2nd and 2 down. and Flaherty coming up. And now they'll double it up as Michael Cohn will join Scott Downs.
So how do you want to pitch to Flaherty? The last time they got ahead of him 0-2 and missed with 3 straight curveballs, and then he hit a fastball in the left field.
He has struggled with Flaherty. Had to throw a number of pitches in both at bats. Got him on the ground ball out the first time, and then that single, and Flaherty would score, and the RBI by Manny Machado later in the inning. That was in the 6th when the Orioles got their run. Home run by Trout, 4th inning for the Angels. There haven't been many chances tonight. And the Orioles at the 0-for-3 mark. Scioscia checking on the bullpen and also on his catcher. Make sure IANNETTA's all right. 2 down, 2 on. And a step off by Vargas.
Well, Eric Ibar at shortstop, he has not given Danny Valencia a big lead. They are going to try to cut down that lead.
Delivery to Flaherty will be taken down low for a ball.
But it was such a great hitting approach the last time. You know, Ryan Flaherty is a fastball hitter, he's a pull hitter, but he stayed inside the ball and sliced it into left field. It looked like Dick Markakis was hitting with that kind of stroke.
Flaherty getting his first hit off a left-hander this year, 1 for 5. 1-0 delivery, and that is in there for a strike, and it goes to 1-1 on Flaherty. Big chance for the Orioles. They fell behind in the 4th inning on that Trout homer, tied it up in the 6th. Have had a couple of chances in addition in that 6th inning. Now trying to get to Vargas. He's thrown 110 pitches after this next one. He looks back to second base. Valencia, the lead runner. Pierce over at first. And you see how close Ibar stays to the runner at second. 1 ball, 1 strike count. And again, trying to get Flaherty to go after those pitches away, and he's not. 2-1.
Well, if you think the whole field, it's a lot easier to let the ball travel, and it's a millisecond because you only have about 4/10 of a second anyway. Just let it travel, and if you have to go back up the middle, if you have to shoot it into left field.
So Scioscia trying to coax a strike out of home plate umpire Sam Holbrook. Again, the look back to second base.
One thing about Sam Holbrook, he's been very consistent. Only really maybe the one questionable pitch, that was a strikeout to Nick Markakis, who never argues. Other than that, he's been solid for both teams tonight.
Ryan Flaherty hitting 107 with runners in scoring position. Chance to give the Orioles the lead. Puts it up in the air down the line towards the seats and foul. 2 ball, 2 strike count. Only other inning where the Orioles have had the 2 base runners on came in that 6th inning. And they got the back-to-back hits by Flaherty and Markakis. Then could only get the RBI and the ground ball out. 2-2. Flaherty fouls that one back.
Changeup. Doesn't matter. Got it up a little bit.
30-year-old Jason Vargas. Ian Gonzalez with some quality work on the mound. Up to 112 pitches now. Valencia at second, Pierce at first. Two balls, 2 strikes. 3 looks back. Flaherty shattered bat. This is going to be a very tough play. Nobody can get him. Another infield hit. 3 in a row by the Orioles with 2 away in the 7th inning will load the bases.
Boy, he's made 3 outstanding pitches, and all he has is the bases loaded to show for it. I mean, it's a jam shot So once it gets by Vargas, nobody. And the way Ryan Flaherty can run, Henrik's smart play, just putting it in his back pocket. I mean, right off the label.
And that will be it for Jason Vargas. Those 3 infield hits will knock him out of the ball game. With the ball game tied at 1-1, Mike Scioscia goes to the bullpen. Could only hope for a no decision. He could be the loser, but he can't win it. There's the line, including 3 infield hits here in the 7th.
Yeah, that gets Scott Downs in the game. He pitches terrific. And Downs, as we mentioned, wasn't available for the series when the Orioles won 3 out of 4 in early May. I happened to run into him with all the rain yesterday. I said, "How you feeling?" And he goes, "Well, when you're my age, something always hurts." But he does get lefties out. I mean, he's a very effective guy. He's got a nice little breaking ball, a little change up he'll throw in any count. Just the good numbers for him, Gary, is that Nick Markakis 6 for 19 lifetime off him.
He has not given up much to the Orioles over the years. He's got a 2-1 record, a 3.86 ERA. It's his 40th appearance against the Orioles tonight. He's had 3 starts in his career against the O's. So showdown right here as Nick Markakis will stand in against him. Nick with a 1 for 3, a single his last time up. Bases loaded, 2 down, tie game, bottom half of the 7th inning. Valencia, Pierce, and Flaherty all with the infield hits to load them up. 36-year-old left-hander delivers, and Markakis will take it, and he misses inside for a ball.
11th major league season for Scott Downs, and as you mentioned, came up through Montreal organization. Very interested spectator there, Jason Vargas. His runs are on base.
Markakis with a .320 batting average with 2 outs and runners in scoring position. Here's the 1-0 delivery to him. Nick's going to get one into right center field. That's a base hit. Valencia scores. Pierce will score. And the Orioles take the lead. Markakis 2 RBIs.
Boy, the way the defense has gone tonight, I almost thought that BOURJOS with a great jump was going to try to come in and
Nick Markakis gets it done, and our Lexus of Towson drive of the ball game.
It looks like this ball is going to hang up right down the middle, smacked into center field, and BOURJOS looks like he's going to close on it. Breaking ball for the single a couple of innings ago. And he lets it drop in front of him, and here come the second and third runs for the Orioles.
Our drive of the game brought to you by Lexus of Towson, the Baltimore area's #1 Lexus dealer. Come see why they're #1 at LexusofTowson.com. The Orioles the lead. Downs is out. They'll bring the right-hander in to face Machado. With 2 away, 3 infield hits, and then Markakis with a 2 RBI base hit to center. RBIs 36 and 37, and the right-hander on.
Yeah, Michael Kahn comes on. Tommy John 2011. Must have pitched over the weekend. It was 94 to 96 against the Red Sox. So a lot of strikeouts, more than one. 19 and 17 and 2/3 innings. Doesn't give up a lot of hits. But you got an awfully tough hitter at the plate with Manny Machado.
Runners on at second and first now with 2 down. What an inning. That certainly fits right into this ball game that has featured great defense, outstanding pitching. Flaherty's on at second base. Markakis on at first. 2 outs. The Orioles had outs to Davis and Wieters on ground balls to start the inning against Vargas. And then Valencia, Pierce, and Flaherty all got the infield singles to load them up for Markakis. That ball will be fouled away by Manny Machado. Machado's had a single in his first at bat. 1 for 3 and an RBI in the game.
Yeah, the sum total of those base hits. Well, it's 120 feet from home plate out to second base. Not more than 300 feet.
Amazing, amazing inning. And a tough one for Vargas. The runs charged to him, and he's responsible for Flaherty.
Well, that's how good he's been against the Orioles. The shutout up in Seattle, and until this inning, only the 1 run.
1 ball, 1 strike count on Machado. Outfield deep, pick off at second. Kendrick, the second baseman, moving in on Flaherty. 3 runs on 8 hits for the Orioles. A run on 4 hits for the Angels. And the Orioles trying to add to it here in the 7th inning, and all of this happening after there were 2 away. 1 ball, 1 strikeout on with 2 down, and that's going to be fouled away. Manny Machado putting it into the seats. Another big number. The Orioles have been outstanding this year, picking up RBIs with 2 away. Manny Machado's at 385 with runners in scoring position and 2 outs. Those are enormous numbers, well above the average in the league. Just picking up 2-out RBIs is not easy. Nick Markakis, we told you, up at 320 before he got that base hit with 2 down. 1-2 count. Kahn's delivery, and that'll be fouled off the other way. Kahn has faced Manny Machado once and got him, and the only time against him. The right-handers hitting only 139. Left-handers 125 against the right-hander.
Yeah, sparkling numbers.
One ball, 2 strike count. Flaherty off second, Markakis off first. And again, the look back to keep Flaherty close. Nobody moving in on the bag. Here's the 1-2 delivery to him, and that's going to do it. Got him on the off-speed delivery. Kahn comes on to get the strikeout. Markakis, though, the 2 RBI single, and the Orioles have a 3-1 lead. Game here, the candidates tonight. Mike Trout has delivered the home run for the Angels. Gonzalez, who remains on the mound, working on surrendering just one run in this game. And Nick Markakis, he's had 2 hits, 2 for 4, and the 2 big RBIs. You have time to vote. A, B, or C. 318-26. Chris Dickerson will come on to play for Pierce in left field. And Gonzalez is going to stay on the mound. Miguel Gonzalez's season high innings pitched 7 against the Yankees. His career high in innings pitched is 8. That was last August against Kansas City. He'll stay in, and he's only thrown 84 pitches.
Yeah, long time on the bench, though, so you hope that comes out. Make sure that you are ready to go. Boy, you really use those 9 or 10 warm-up pitches you can get. Ibar with the bunt base hit last night, had 16 of them. Manny Machado not letting him bunt tonight. Boy, he is in anticipating it. Makes him swing the bat.
Lined into a double play and flied to center. Gonzalez pitches up high, 1-1. Miguel has walked 1, struck out 5. He and his wife expecting a child literally any moment. So he's been pitching this ball game with the cell phone. I'm sure probably Richie Van Zels has it in case there's a phone call. That's also been on his mind tonight. And you know, if he could pick up a win here and maybe even pitch a ball game through 8 innings, I doubt any more than that. That would be one for the baby. Here's the 2-1 delivery on the way, and the ball in the air to right field. Nick Markakis.
Well, the pitch count is certainly where he could be thinking complete game. I mean, you just don't see it happen very often, but in command of all this stuff. You know, as a type of guy with his repertoire, Gary, everybody thinks, well, it's just about endurance and all that. Yeah, it is. And, you know, he's a very bright kid. He knows how to pitch. I mean, his pitching IQ is up there. So all you try to do when you get into the late innings, and maybe you have a little fatigue, is stay over the rubber a little bit long and speed up your arm. You can't do it if you try to throw with more of your body. And well, once you learn to do that, pitching in the late innings is never easy, but less difficult.
J.B. Shuck is going to be the pinch hitter. Shuck on for Harris, Brendan Harris, who had an 0 for 2. 1 down in the 8th inning, and the pitch is in there for a strike. Rarely see the complete game anymore, especially if it is a save situation, because you're paying a guy in the bullpen to come in and finish games, and when he has a chance to pick up a save, he expects to be in there, and you expect to put him in. We'll see.
Yeah, in the old days, they would let you go out there until you got the tying or the winning run, and then you wouldn't get the clean inning for the relievers. Yeah. I think now you're going to bring Jim Johnson in. Don't want anybody on base.
Shuck on the foul ball.
Yeah, he's a speedster. So
Shuck hitting at 278, no home runs, 13 RBIs as pinch hitters go for the Angels. The total 209 with a 223 batting average. 2 for 5 for Shuck in that role. 1 ball, 2 strike count. A lost start we were talking about last night, pinch hitting in the American League. Just don't get the chances anymore. And the pitch is up high. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Angels trying to get the potential tying run to the plate. They've got the big bats who will come up at least one more time. Gonzalez would love to have a 1-2-3 inning to force the number 9 hitter to lead it off against somebody in the 9th inning rather than turn the order over here in the 8th. 2-2. Nick Scioscia's team again, the team that was supposed to have all these big bats, struggling to find runs. They've played all these 1- and 2-run games. That'll go to first base. Davis will play the big hop. He'll get there himself.
So time and time again, both Vargas, who got hurt by the infield hits, and then Miguel Gonzalez making quality pitches when they're able to get ahead. Great splitter. Got Shuck to get out on his front foot and hit the roller to the right side.
So we'll get another pinch hitter as Callaspo comes out of the dugout to hit for IANNETTA. Callaspo played as a starter in the ball game last night. Callaspo had an 0 for 4. the switch hitter who started at third base last night.
Yeah, did hit a home run over the weekend, but only 8 for 53, not playing well defensively. So if you're Mike Scioscia, he is a switch hitter. You give him a day or a night off, at least for most of it. And now hope to, and all you need if you're the Angels, get a guy on. I mean, that starts it for him.
So Callaspo with 2 down and nobody on. Infield shifted against him, not entirely around. He'll take it for a strike. Callaspo left-handed, 243, right-handed, 229. 4 home runs, 2 from each side of the plate. 2 down. Here's the 0-1 delivery and a roll to second base. Flaherty is there, and another clean inning. And Miguel Gonzalez, just in case he doesn't come back, is getting a standing O from the fans as he walks off the field with a 3-1 lead. $50 to the Y of Central Maryland's Fit and Fun program. 171 walks, $8,550. Care First Blue Cross Blue Shield encourages each of us to take that first step towards a healthier and more active lifestyle. Jerry Thorne, Jim Palmer with you, and there is Miguel Gonzalez, a humdinger, as you might say. He has walked 1, struck out 5, has pitched equaling a career high 8 innings. And waiting on the bench.
Yeah, nobody up in the bullpen as Kevin Jepson will come on and get loose for the Angels. Power guy. I mean, off and on for 5 years. Disabled list, missed 38 games. Right shoulder strain. We saw him hit 98 last year. I don't know if he'll get there tonight, but big, strong guy, power breaking ball.
So Jepson on with a little bigger D as Callaspo will stay in and play at third base. Harris out. And Conger will come on to do the catching. So a new battery. Con worked a third of an inning, got a strikeout. Downs, no part of an inning, 1 hit. For Vargas, his final line, 3 runs, 7 hits over 6 2/3 innings, 1 walk and 1 strikeout. And the Orioles bat in the bottom half of the 8th inning. The Orioles have lost only 3 games, but they've had a lead after 7. They are 28-3. The Angels have had 3 comebacks when they've trailed after 7. They are 3-32. And strike called as Hardy 0 for 3 stands in.
So there you go. Richards, we saw him last night, pitched very well for him. Frieri, we don't want to see him because he's the closer. We saw Kahn, and then Jerome Williams is going to pitch tomorrow. So those are your hard throwers.
And Hardy will foul that one away. Hardy 1 for 3 off Jepson. That one off Conger. Welcome to the game. The Orioles 3 runs, 8 hits, 1 run, 4 hits for the Angels. As fine a pitching performance as you'd want to see from Gonzalez, and almost equally so for Vargas. And the defense in the game, if you missed it early on, spectacular on both sides with the gloves. Hardy waiting on the 0-2 delivery, and Jepson's pitch will be outside. Makes it real tough on right-handers as he swings over to that third base side. You got to believe that's going to come right into your rib cage. And he lets go of it.
And then there's a little bit of a herky-jerkiness to his windup. So you're seeing a lot of arms and legs.
1 ball, 2 strike count. And that will be outside. And it'll go to 2-2 on Hardy with Jones and Davis due up.
We're in the press room before the game, and Mike Jorgensen, a former major leaguer who scouts for the Cardinals, he said the amazing thing about last night, both starters never hit 90. Yet they pitched very well. Jared Weaver and Garcia. But then you get to the back end of bullpens, a whole different game. The flamethrowers come in.
2-2 delivery on the way. Jammed him. Back upstairs. Count will stay at 2 balls and 2 strikes.
Yeah, JJ saw a fastball, even though it might have been in a little bit, and says I like that a little more than that bender.
There is Jim Johnson warming up in the bullpen. We have not seen Buck Showalter go over and give the end sign to Gonzalez yet. So Jim may get ready. Gonzalez may come out, and Jim get ready in the bullpen. We'll see. 2-2 delivery, a roller off the end of the bat to first. Pujols is there. Hardy retired. 1 down in the 8th inning. Trout got the home run in the 4th, the only run on the board. And there goes Buck, and that's it. So Gonzalez is done. Tough decision. You know, Buck's talking about why he's not putting him back out there for the complete game setting.
Well, Jim Johnson has got 22. Only Mariano Rivera with more. There's Rick Adair, pitching coach. Well, what a marvelous game. Trailed 1-0 until the late innings, and the Orioles came back. And there's Freddie Garcia. So Garcia and Gonzalez. And Chris Tillman, who will pitch against the Red Sox. And they come in on Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday.
And that will be inside. Jones has had a frustrating 0 for 3 in this game. Brendan Harris made a fine play on him in the 2nd inning. He flied out to right field in the 4th inning, and then a great play made by IANNETTA on a close play at first base that went 2-3 for the putout his last time up. Here's the 1-0 delivery, and Jepson will miss with that, and Jones gets ahead on the count 2-0. So now Gonzalez can take the game face off, smile a little bit, find the cell phone, see how his wife's doing, and Johnson can get ready for what it looks like will be a save situation. Two-0 count on Jones. And a big swing to foul that one back. 2 ball, 1 strike count. We told you that Gonzalez came in with a very high ERA here at home, 1-0, but his ERA was 5.11. Well, he certainly has put up the numbers to lower that in this ball game.
Well, he took a page out of Freddie Garcia's. Going to throw home runs, make them solo shots. So look, the Orioles now 91 home runs, 58 of them are solo. Solos don't usually hurt you unless you get shut out.
Jones again going for the long ball, and a 2 ball, 2 strike count. Gonzalez a chance to be 4-2 and 2-1 against the Angels if he can get this victory. 2 ball, 2 strike count. Adam Jones with Davis waiting on deck. Adam had come in with consecutive multiple RBI games, only the 2nd time this season that had happened. Probably not going to get that done in this game. Here's the 2-2 delivery, and a swing and a miss. Tag put on by Conger. 2 down.
Michael Kahn did that to Machado. When you throw 93 to 95 and get ahead, throw that curveball underneath or slider down under the zone.
Two away, nobody on. Chris Davis a single, a walk, and he is grounded out. Chris had 335 with the 20 home runs and the 52 RBIs. Infield will move over, play him to pull. Gibson's delivery to him, and that is in there for a strike. There's a mano again. You got Chris Davis, who can really read and rip, and the fastball pitcher Jepson, who's in all likelihood going to challenge him. Oh, and delivery to him. Davis takes it inside.
Hey, he's had a lot of breaking balls for home runs. That's Chris Davis.
Davis this season against the Angels, 3 hits, 14 at bats, 1 ball, 1 strikeout, and outside. Took something off that pitch, and it's 2-1.
No, when you come in 0 for 16, even you get a leg hit, then you walk, you're happy. And like very self-effacing last night, he said, "Boy, I didn't know what it was like to get to first base." And I said, "Well, yeah." And then they had to take 2-hour, 14-minute rain delay once you got there. So he's certainly seems relaxed. Just a momentary struggle.
2-1 delivery on the way to him, and that will be fouled away. Again, the fastball from Jepson. 2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 down. Orioles, after win number 37 for the Angels, they're staring a loss that could put them 11 games below 500. The Angels have had 11 days this year already where they've been at least 10 games below 500. That equals the total of the previous 13 years. 2-2 delivery taken inside, and it counts 3-2.
The last time they were this far under is all the way back to 1994.
And the Orioles try to keep it that way. 3 balls, 2 strikes, 2 down. Gibson's delivery, and it's outside, and he wants it. Something else, Chris Davis has improved on dramatically this year, and 2 walks in the game for him.
Well, it gets Matt Wieters to the plate because they don't want to pitch to you. Take the walk, and with the balanced lineup the Orioles have, where we go back over that 14-year losing streak, the Red Sox would come in, the Yankees would come in, go back to the great Seattle teams. If one guy didn't do the job, you just get on base for the next guy. And starting pitchers would be out of the game earlier. A lot harder to pitch to hitters that will walk than the ones that'll swing at everything.
Matt Wieters with the 0 for 3. Hitting at 242. Will chop that one to second base. Kendrick has got it. And that will retire the side. No runs, no hits, no errors. 1 left on base. All right, sports fans, you know what to do. Take that seatbelt, open the class, buckle up. Here comes Johnson. On Masson is brought to you by Southwest Airlines. Find our fares online only at southwest.com. Gorgeous evening, great ball game. The Orioles trying to guarantee themselves a series win against the Angels, and everything you could ask from your starter was done by Miguel Gonzalez.
Yeah, one of our lowest keys of the game was a rematch against Vargas, who shut him out 4-0. Trumbo had hit a home run. TROUT had hit a home run. We'll hit another one tonight, but it was a solo. Really pitched well. What you look for is a command, very efficient, only the one walk, and then, boy, he pitched it through so many strikes, easy to play defense behind him. So Jimmy Johnson's going to come on, and he has now recorded 22 saves. Only that period of about 10 or 11 days in the middle of May when he had the 4 blown saves. He's going to face the same 3 guys he got out last night.
Bourjos trying to bunt his way on. Will foul it off.
Yeah, 3 ground balls. Pretty routine right before midnight last night.
For Bourjos against Jim Johnson, he is 0 for 3. He'll be followed by Trout and Hamilton. Manny Machado will stay in at third base just on the grass. Johnson with the 0-1 delivery, and Bourjos will take it for a ball. Jim this year in 3 previous games against the Angels, 2 save situations, 2 for 2. He's worked 3 innings, given up 1 run, 1 hit, no walks, and a couple of strikeouts, and a 2-ball, 1 strike count.
The game does not change. He wants to throw strikes. They want to get somebody on. Bring up the power guys.
2-1 delivery will be popped up in the infield. Weeder sees it and will make the catch in foul territory. 1 down, 9th inning. Updating you with the voting for the AT&T Player of the Game, Miguel Gonzalez on top. There are the numbers. Still time to text in your vote, A, B, or C, 318-26. The results on the O's Extra post-game show. Mike Trout coming up, but with a 2-run lead. He comes up with nobody on.
Yeah, Bourjos chased ball 3. 2-1 count, went a little out of the zone, and the Orioles made him pay for it.
Trout is 0 for 4 against Jim Johnson. With the home run, he's got a 5-game hit streak now. Got home run number 12 in the 4th inning. The Orioles with a 3-1 lead. Jim Johnson after the save, and a pitch scooped up, and 2-0 with Hamilton. And if it goes that far, Pujols waiting.
Yeah, got him to ground to shortstop last night because he got ahead of him, and
2-0 delivery will be fouled away by Trout.
Well, you can just see the difference of when those 4 blown saves. The velocity's down, but the movement is up. And it just seemed when he was struggling, maybe a little harder, and then use the other 2 pitches he has.
2-1 delivery, a chopper to third. Manny Machado on the run. Gets it.
Well, your preparation, and boy, all the great defenders that I played with, one of our colleagues, Mike Bordick, be the first to tell you, is that you have to feel like the ball is going to be hit to you. So when it is, you are ready. So the routine plays are just that, they're routine.
Fans on their feet. Manny Machado with another good defensive play. And the Orioles 1 out away from a win. And foul back by Hamilton. Hamilton with the 0 for 3 in the ball game. A 1 for 7 lifetime off Jim Johnson. The Orioles can get this final out. They will win their 14th league leading series of the year. Hamilton fouls that one back, and it goes to 0-2.
And now Jimmy can just throw something out of the zone, and nobody likes to think a final out of a game with a bat on your shoulder. So you know Josh is going to expand the strike zone.
0-2 delivery, and that one down the line in right field is going to keep this game alive. It'll go off the wall. He's going to try for 2. Here's the throw. And boy, that slide, he started a little early. Had to do the dolphin flip to get into second base, but he did, and a double will bring Pujols to the plate.
Well, Josh Hamilton knows he's only the second run, trailing by 2, so boy, if he played in this ballpark, which he has, in fact, he played right field last night, he knows that Markakis can throw. He knows he plays the ball well, and the wall well, and you can see him sliding a little bit, so the early slide, but a lot of momentum to get him there. Barely.
It's about as long a slide as you can do. All right, here's Albert Pujols. Pujols 1 for 1 off Jim Johnson, and you know what that one was. 1-0 count, 2 away, 9th inning. Pujols 0 for 2 and a walk in the ballgame. Johnson trying to wrap it up. Fans on their feet. 1-0 delivery. Pujols takes a 1-1.
And it's not like you can pitch around him with Trumbo on deck, who leads the team in home runs.
Hamilton at second. 5 hits for the Angels. The Orioles have 8. Here's the 1-1 delivery. Pujols takes it, and it will miss away or down or both. 2-1.
Yeah, the old curveball, boy, it's hard for umpires, especially when you throw one that good, to call it. Because it's not where you catch it, it's where it goes across the plate relative to the knees.
A pensive look here in the 9th inning. 2-1 delivery. Pujols the chopper to the middle. That's going to be a base hit. Hamilton will score, and it is a 1-run ball game. Albert Pujols delivers an RBI 2-out single in the 9th, and it's 3-2. And now Pujols will come out of the game for a pinch runner.
Yeah, not much you can do about this. The curveball to Hamilton wasn't a good one with 2 strikes, so he just hits it right back up the middle. And now it gets the big bomber up to the plate, Mark Trumbo.
Hop will run. Brad Hopp at first base for Pujols. Now Trumbo 0 for 3 in the ball game. Trumbo 0 for 4 against Johnson with 2 Ks. 2 down. And here's another 1-run game. Foul back. Trumbo has had just 1 hit in the 2 games of this series so far. 1 for 6. With Showalter waiting for that 3rd out before the Angels can get another run. Outfield very deep. 0-1 delivery and fooled him. Had him out in front of it. 0-2.
Yeah, I think Jim Johnson, Jimmy's a pretty smart kid, and he saw that first swing on the fastball, figured it, and he does have an excellent curveball. He's got starter stuff, 3 outstanding pitches, and just dropped one off.
Two-strike count. In the air, down the line, and it'll be a foul ball and no play. Hop off and running. Will come back. He'd rounded second. Great finish to a great game. Had about everything you could want in this one. A long ball by a Trout. Great pitching. Gonzalez, Vargas. Outstanding defense on both sides of the field. MARKAKIS with a key 2-out, 2 RBI base hit, 7th inning. And now Johnson trying to finish it up. The 0-2 delivery. That's the ball game. Strikes him out looking. And the Orioles pick up the win. The final 3-2. They are now 10-8 in 1-run ball games, dropping the Angels to 10-14. Johnson gets the save. Gonzalez gets the win. MARKAKIS gets the game-winning RBI. And the Orioles have won their league-leading 14th series. They go 11-5 now against the American League West.